Drake Milligan on the podcast used to do like these Elvis impersonation shows. Mm-hmm. Was it really Gene Simmons who convinced you to go on America's Got Talent? But how'd you even get on the phone with Gene Simmons?
Well, I had done American Idol, decided to withdraw from the competition.
Were you single when you went on that show? Because every single girl on that audition is screaming at you. Do you think the show ruined your relationship?
No, I ruined my relationship.
I've never seen anything happen as much as this is happening.
That's some great placement there.
Are you sponsored by Celsius?
No,
or
I'm not.
Why do you drink Celsius? For the energy? What is Celsius? What?
It's the 200 milligrams caffeine.
That's what it does?
I have like I was like a big coffee drinker for years.
Really?
And it's just my stomach can't handle coffee anymore.
You get the runs?
I just generally uneasy.
Just generally uneasy. But Celsius does it for you?
Celsius does the thing. Sometimes it's a little too much. It's like...
I don't drink coffee ever.
Yeah. Have you ever drank coffee?
Yeah. I drank coffee a little bit when I was a freshman in college, and I just feel like I didn't need the caffeine, and it would make me feel so jittery. That now, even when I'm traveling and I'm jet lagged, I still don't drink coffee because it just makes me feel worse. And then I can't sleep at night. Yeah, like I'm a mess.
Vince Gill says he's never drank coffee ever.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
This is why Vince Gill and I have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And,
guitar players.
Drink
coffee.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
I also said he's never sent a text.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
He's never saad that.
He said that to me?
He said that to you?
Yeah.
He never sent a text?
He said he's never sent a text.
That's crazy. Who's getting around? Do you think he has other people send us texts for him?
Maybe.
God.
Maybe.
What a life to live. You wearing a watch right now? What kind of watch is that?
It's a Rolex Submariner.
Are you a big watch guy? Do you have like a collection of watches, or is that like your one?
I have like
nice
4 watches.
That's actually like a decent amount of watches. Like, are they all nice?
It's these, and I have like 3 Hamiltons.
3 Hamiltons.
You know, like the Hamilton Venturas. Are you a watch guy?
No, but I mean, I'd like to be a watch guy.
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, this is just I don't know. This is just. That's obviously.
When did you get that watch?
This was my dad gave it to me. It was kind of like he had got it when I was a kid for like a graduation gift, he got my brother one. He bought one that he was going to give to my brother and give one to me, and then I didn't graduate, and then he felt bad.
You didn't graduate from high school?
I didn't graduate from high school.
Really? Because you got the TV show or
Sun Records? Yeah.
Because you got the Sun Records CMT.
Mm-hmm. I left high school. It was like Valentine's Day of my senior year. Yeah.
And so you left the senior year of high school, and you never went back, or you never.
I got my GED.
Oh, okay.
So,
but you didn't.
Good enough. Dang it.
Did you ever miss out on like walking with your class, or like did you care about? Did you go to prom?
No, I had a prom date that changed her mind.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Wait. First of all, mind. Who is changing their mind on Drake Milligan? What are you talking about? Why did she? What do you mean?
I had asked her to prom, and I was still like, I guess prom was kind of coming up by the time I had almost left school. Maybe like within a month. I asked her like fairly early to prom, and then she like a couple weeks later was like, "Hey, I can't go to prom with you."
Why? What was the excuse she gave?
She's going with somebody else.
She went with someone else?
Going with somebody else, and then I didn't even end up going to prom because I was filming a TV show. So
well, that was kind of the best way. You were like, by the way, even if you had rejected me, I would have rejected you.
Yeah, I wanted to go though. From my Elvis days, I had a gold lame jacket, a nice gold lame jacket. I was going to wear it.
And that's what you were going to wear?
Yeah.
Was it cool? You were such an Elvis fan when you were a kid and you used to do like these Elvis impersonation shows. Mm-hmm. Were you like, did that make you cool, or were you like a total weirdo being this kid who was like so into Elvis?
Yeah, I was totally weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why she didn't.
I mean, I was, probably.
No, that can't be.
But I mean, it kind of separated the two. When I was a little kid and I first discovered who Elvis was, I was like serious about it. Like everybody knew I was the Elvis kid, and I'd dye my hair black and like try to look like Elvis all the time.
Yeah.
And then that was definitely the weird kid then. By high school, I was like, I had a normal kind of high school life, my friend group and everything. And then the Elvis thing was just kind of like, oh, go off on weekends and summertime. And
what's the best Elvis footage where you were really getting excited about? Like, was it the early days, or was it like the Vegas stuff? Like, what's the best Elvis footage?
Elvis footage? I mean, the best like quality stuff is from the 70s. I mean, you can watch like Aloha from Hawaii. '73 is great. That's the Way It Is probably one of my favorites. It's like Elvis 1970. It's when he's playing the
It's
International.
called That's the Way It Is.
That's the Way It Is. Yeah.
What is that, like a concert? Is that
it's a culmination of concerts from 1970 when he's playing the International. So it's kind of his big Vegas comeback, and he's like super skinny. It was right after the '68 comeback special where he's in the black leather, kind of famous. A couple years after that, where he's playing his first like live show, string of live shows back in Vegas after, not playing live for 10 years, which is wild, by the way.
Elvis is that the timeline? I even saw
Elvis didn't play live for about 10 years.
That's when he came back to Vegas.
From like 58 to about 69. He played like one benefit concert in like Pearl Harbor or something like that in the 60s. But other than that, didn't play a single live show. And that was the prime of his life. Like he was 20, I guess he would have been, in his like late 20s, early 30s. Didn't play a show. Didn't play a live show all the way through his 20s.
So why is that the best footage for you? Is it just the most high quality footage?
Most high quality. He looks good. He's moving good. He's got the swagger. I wish there was more stuff from the 50s. Because if there was more stuff, it'd be awesome.
What is the stuff from the 50s that you were watching when you were a kid? Like anything?
The TV specials mostly, like Ed Sullivan Show and a lot of those like TV shows he did in the 50s are decently good, but there are only a couple songs here and there, but there's some good like kind of bootleg live footage stuff that you can kind of see, and they've tried to sync up some kind of audio to it, and it's very blurry, but you can kind of see the magic of like a live show Elvis in the 50s when it was like crazy, like pandemonium,
That's what you see when in that footage from the 50s.
You kind of, it's so, some of that stuff's so bootleg and blurry.
But what was it about him that you were so into, or still are into? Was it the music, or was it the fact that everyone was like fawning over him? Like, what was like?
I was just drawn. Because I discovered Elvis through an Elvis impersonator when I was about 7 years old. Yeah. And I'd always heard during Christmas time, I would hear Blue Christmas come on the radio. Yeah. Right. And I loved that song. I never really knew who sang it. I just loved Blue Christmas. And I would get so excited when Blue Christmas come on, all when I was a kid. And then we were out eating at a like burger joint in Arlington. And there was an Elvis impersonator there. This guy, Carlton Hurdle. And I'm still friends with him. And he's like 6'8". He has the big jumpsuits. And I was just like, what is this? 7-year-old me was like, what is going on? What is this? And I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I went home. My mom's like, hey,
that's Elvis.
She like explained like, that's kind of Elvis. She showed me like real clips of Elvis when we got home, and because she had seen Elvis back in the day at the Houston Astrodome.
Your mom had?
Mm-hmm. She was a kid. She said she barely remembers it. I'm like,
you
saw Elvis. But
so when you did America's Got Talent on your audition, you made this really great point when you were like, Elvis and the Beatles had the Ed Sullivan Show. Like you just said, like you can watch Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show. And like, I feel like that was maybe just so expected back then. Like that's how you would break. And then today, do you think these shows sometimes get a bad rap, or like people don't get what they're really about?
Yes. Well, there's so much out there now. That was the thing back in the day. That was all they had. And everybody would turn on their TVs, and everybody across the country had the Ed Sullivan Show on at a certain time. Right. And they were there, and they knew to go there to see new acts, new music. And it really, as far as I could tell, America's Got Talent, or really any of the kind of competition shows are the only, are that kind of thing.
The equivalent
of that today.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there who, are, they're watching America's Got Talent at 8:00. That's like, that's what they look forward to. So, and they know to go, when they want to see, new acts, they want to feel like they see somebody break out and be a star. And to me, America's Got Talent especially does that. Because they really, the thing with AGT that did so well for me as compared to maybe doing any of the other shows was that I got to have, I got to play original song from the start. I could have my band up there, tell my story, and like it was just a perfect opportunity for me because I was already, I had put in the work, and I was ready as an artist. I felt like I had an album ready to go and everything. was a great launching platform for me. You know,
was it really Gene Simmons who convinced you to go on America's Got Talent?
It was Gene.
How'd you even get on the phone with Gene Simmons? Isn't that so funny?
My manager Leslie Greif is good friends with Gene. Leslie was the executive producer on Sun Records.
Yeah, and
that's how we met. That's how I met Leslie. His dad was a artist manager back in the day. It's like Jose Feliciano and Barry White and a bunch of acts, and Leslie grew up in that world. And I guess it just kind of became, eventually, you know, I just kind of like Leslie, why don't you just manage me, you know? And he's like, no, whatever, you know. And, but anyways, Leslie's good friends with Gene. Leslie produced Family Jewels.
The TV show, Gene Simmons.
Shows.
Gene
Simmons Family Jewels.
Yeah. So you get on the phone with Gene Simmons, which to me is so goofy, because is there any musical similarities between you and Gene Simmons? Like, really?
He came out to a show one time we did in Vegas, and he just bought a place in Vegas, and me and Leslie went out, and he invited us out to go show him his place. And then we went to lunch. We had crepes. With a rock star. We go in with Gene. They were, you know, in like Las Vegas, like a little tiny little mom and pop crepe shop. Creperie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And here's Gene Simmons, rock star, coming in there, and we sat in there.
And what does he tell you?
We talk. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, that's all I've ever heard.
Very smart, and Gene's really the kind of genius.
I wasn't gonna make it, but you made it
behind like the branding of Kiss, because Kiss was one of the first, besides Elvis. I mean, Kiss was like the first branded band.
Wait,
and Elvis was the first one that had like
branded,
like where you
buy the merch,
all the merch you could ever want. Like that was people wanted to buy. It didn't matter what it was, as long as it had Elvis's face on it, or as long as it had Kiss on it.
Right,
they're gonna buy whatever it is, you know. I'll buy a set of headphones, Kiss headphones.
Right,
you know? And Gene was they were one of the first ones to really do that, you know, and then he's smart in that way, and you can tell musically he loves music. He's a big Ronnie Milsap fan. We talked some Ronnie Milsap. Yeah.
So wait, but I think when you were thinking about doing AGT, you got on a phone call with him, and you were like, I don't know if I should do this. What do you think, Gene? And somehow he convinced you to do it. What did he say to you?
He was just like, so we're all kind of sitting there, a lot of my management, and we're thinking, you know, should we do this? We had the opportunity, and it's like, it's something we want to do. And I was skeptical. I had done American Idol in 2017. I had auditioned, got through, decided to withdraw from the competition. So they aired the audition. I never went to Hollywood.
Why'd you withdraw? Because you put out like a statement where you were like, I didn't feel ready.
I wasn't.
But how'd you have that insight? Because I feel like every kid gets on American Idol, and who's going to not take that shot?
I had just realized, it's like, what am I going to, you know, I kind of saw ahead. I had just done Sun Records, and I had gone out to LA for a little bit, and I thought, and I'd done really no work writing or anything, and I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to sing on this show?
Covers. Isn't that what people sing on American Idol?
And Elvis songs, and it's like, what is that going to exactly do for me? Then I'm the Elvis guy.
Yeah.
Which I still feel like I am. But
why were you so confident that you would even have another opportunity?
Yeah, well, I'd gone to Nashville a little bit, and I saw some doors opening in Nashville where I thought, okay, I can go and like at least get into some songwriting rooms and start making something happen. You know, start really working. And that's what I did. I spent, you know, I guess those first 4 or 5 years here, you know, just writing and being in the studio and learning what I wanted to say as an artist. Anyways, where were we at?
So you signed this record deal with PBR.
Oh, yeah.
And now you have this opportunity to go on AGT, and you don't know if you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you get on the phone with Gene Simmons, and what insight is Gene giving to you about this to convince you to go on the show?
He goes, he's like, here's the way I see it. You can either go tour for 5 more years, and I was already touring at that point, trying to get anybody to show up to shows. You know, if we had 150 people at the show, that was great. And he's like, you can go play for 100 to 600 people at a time for 5 years, and you can build it that way, go all the way across the country. And you can build it that way, and it's a way to do it. Or you can go ahead and get in front of 10 million people. It either works or it doesn't. If it doesn't, you're back to where you were. Option A again. If it does, you broke the ice, you know? And luckily for me, it broke the ice enough. And I think part of what we were able to do with that show was capitalize on it. I had a great team around me. I had the record deal, I had the publishing deal. And I think I was one of the first artists to go on that show that had a record deal. You know, a lot of them don't want you to have. They don't want you to be
signed.
So
how'd you get through already having
It was the first year they opened it up. I mean, Simon opened it up to where if somebody signed and wants to come in here. You know, because I mean, you know, it's like
I don't know.
It's like it's just like even as a signed artist, it's not easy for everybody to break. It's hard to break.
It's really hard.
It's hard to break out, and I think Simon realizes that and knows that there's a whole lot of artists in Nashville who are signed, who are trying to get their big break, and America's Got Talent is a great avenue for that, and it makes the show look good. They to their credit, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I mean, they are really good. The producers of that show, Simon, they're very smart. They know what they're doing, and it was a perfect opportunity for somebody like me who was trying to get that break, and had, you know, a little bit of story, but also had everything around me. I had a great team. I had an album ready to go that had already been, that first record, Dallas Fort Worth, had been recorded for probably a year at that point, a couple of years at that point, but just trying to find a way to release it, you know, through COVID and all that, and yeah, it was just we were able to capitalize on it, and then take, you know, breaking the ice and getting that little, because you get a little spark from those shows, right? Everybody sees it's all excitement, and you know, you can either kind of ride that for a second and let it fizzle, or you can try to keep that momentum going.
Why did Simon kept saying to you that he was so impressed
that
you stayed, but did you ever think about leaving, or like did that ever cross your, like, was that a weird comment that
it was
he
a weird
kept
comment
making to you?
What I think that might have been a jab at me leaving American Idol.
Interesting,
because he's still a producer on American Idol.
Oh, you think he knew that, or he
maybe?
Yeah,
I think he does his research. That may have been part of it, you know.
That seems unrelated, though. I don't know.
I mean, to me, my whole thing throughout the whole show, I didn't, you know, of course, winning would be nice on those things, but it's my whole goal was to perform as many times as possible on that show. Yeah. And the thing that's gone the furthest is my audition tape, you know, and like with most performances on there, the audition is the biggest one, you know, so as long as you got that, you're good. You know, that's the one that goes online and everybody sees, everybody hears that song. And as long as you can have something, you know, blow up in the finale rounds, but I mean, to me, from what I've seen, the auditions are always the ones that really matter the most. But I still wanted to go on that show as many times as possible. And the live shows are fun. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's truly live. I mean,
who puts together the production? Like, does the show work with you?
The show works with you, and they
figure out the performance and the production for it.
Yep. And they have great performance coaches.
Yeah.
And stuff like that really help you and work with you all week, you know, while you're there. To put together a real performance, you know, and it's all a collaborative thing.
Were you single when you went on that show? Because every single girl on that audition is screaming at you. Maybe it was enhanced on TV. Maybe it didn't feel that way in the room. But I wasn't single when I went on this. I was single when I came out of that show. Really? Because do you think the show ruined your relationship? Just being away doing the show?
No, I ruined my relationship.
Really?
Oh yeah.
But what does that mean?
But the show didn't.
How did you ruin the relationship?
I don't know.
It didn't work out. Is it hard to date an artist?
It's hard. Yeah, I think so. And then once you get busier too, you know, and you have so many, it's like I just have so little time. You know, I can't imagine dating anybody right now. I'm on the road all the time. You know,
you're about to wrap up your tour. You've been on the road for a minute. You're wrapping up in Nashville.
Yep.
At the Basement East on October 25th.
The Beast.
If you're listening to this before October 25th, you can go to the show. If it's not sold out, I don't know, it might actually be sold out. How long you been on the road though? This was like a long tour,
dude. It's still going.
This was like
we keep on adding dates. The Jukebox Songs World Tour.
World tour. You sold out like 5 dates in London or something, right?
Three nights in London. Yeah. I've never played 3 nights anywhere, so it's crazy. We've done the C2C festival for a few years over there, a couple years, which is a big country festival. Usually in they have London at the O2. Then they have like Glasgow, Scotland, or this year they did Belfast, Ireland, and stuff like that. And they even did Germany and Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And I've done well. I went for the first time, I guess, last year, and had a great response. And people watched AGT over there, so I had a little bit.
Do
of
they really?
Crowd. People watched those clips from AGT.
That's where
And so I had a little bit of a already, but then I brought the whole band over, and we had a crazy kind of 45-minute set. That what's cool about the crowds over there, first of all, they love old school country music or old school rock and roll, which I also love and I play in my shows. And they're so They're so into it. They're so into a live show, and they will move their schedules to go see their favorite artist play if they come over. And we had a great response there. We got to come back this past year and play the main stages, which was awesome. You know, O2 Arena packed out. It was really so cool. And then as I was over there this year, we put on sale headlining shows over there. 3 nights where we originally it was a night in London, a night in Manchester, and a night in Glasgow. And the London, it's all sold out like immediately. We had to add dates. I've never experienced anything like that. So we added 2 more nights in London. Those sold out. We upgraded both the other venues twice. So now we're playing big, 2,500 seat rooms.
Is your biggest market right now in the UK?
I think so. I sell more tickets in the UK than I do in Texas right now, which is crazy because I sell quite.
But you do pretty well in Texas.
I do pretty well.
Billy Bob's and
Yeah.
But the UK just loves it.
Yeah.
Who's been like the most crazy person to come out of a show? Like, have any heroes or like anyone really famous come out to the shows or like requested tickets?
I mean, Gene was wild early on, and it's wild to be playing and look down and there's Gene.
Which show does he come to?
He came to like a Vegas. We played at the Doghouse at Resorts World in Vegas.
Yeah.
It was very early on, and just like a daytime set or something. And he came and watched it. I'll talk about when we opened. We opened for Dwight Yoakam a few years ago. This was again early on, in Macon, and Chuck Leavell came out, and that was really cool for me. And Chuck.
Who is Chuck Leavell?
Chuck Leavell. You don't know Chuck Leavell? He played piano player. Played famously for the Allman Brothers. One of the writers on Jessica.
Okay. I thought Dickie Betts just like wrote Jessica. There was a
co-writer
on Jessica.
Him, and I think he had some of that piano stuff, so he's credited as a.
Okay, yeah. That was meaningful to you. That really meant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you're a big Allman Brothers fan, or you?
I just love music, great musicians.
Yeah.
And
you want to like perform.
And he's been with the
Stones,
and he's been with the Stones.
Is that the guy who plays with the Stones?
He plays with the Stones.
That's the guy with the beard, right?
Yep.
I know exactly who that guy is. That guy's unreal.
He's a class act. Just a great guy.
Really? He came to the show.
He came to the show, and it's just cool to have a musician of what I think is like the highest caliber coming to a show.
Does that make you nervous?
Oh yeah, but probably my band more than anything makes me nervous.
I was once on a gig with your guitar player. What's his name?
Ryan,
you got a great guitar player. He's unreal.
He started out playing steel for me.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been in my band probably the longest. I've been playing with him the longest, and he started out on steel.
Well, he told me that you had to convince him. There was a performance you did on AGT where you're like dancing. And you're like dancing
we do
our
move. Yeah.
Exactly. He didn't want to do that.
No.
You had to convince him to do that, right?
Yeah.
Why was that? Was it really hard to convince him, or how?
No. The thing is, like, you can't get that dude to stop moving now. It's like if I did have to convince him, like, there's no convincing him at all now. Nowadays, he's like, we're wireless, and he's like everywhere.
He's everywhere, right?
He's like the everywhere.
Do you ever tell your band like, hey guys, this is the Drake Milligan show. It's my name on the billboard. Just settle down, okay? Stop making this about you.
Not at all. And people love the band aspect too. People love because I've got a great band, and everybody's really kind of found their own styles on stage too. Like everybody has their own thing, and it's part of the show. People show up. People buy tickets to see them too. So, it is. And since AGT, for some reason on AGT too, they really connected to that band aspect because they had us up there as a band.
Yeah.
And so people who especially watch the show kind of connected to that. And everybody does have their own styles. And I love it because it gives people a reason to go see a live show, and it's not just, it takes pressure off of me because it's not just, okay, here's a spotlight and here's the band in the background. On nights when I'm not feeling good or I'm, not into it or whatever, I can lean on them, and they can kind of take some of the pressure off too.
No, that's why you toured with a band.
Yeah.
Basement East, October 25th.
That's right.
When your first record, Tony Brown produced, right?
That's right.
And he did George Strait, Vince Gill. Like he's like
Rodney Crowell. Some of my favorite records, man.
Like, what did he bring into the room? What do you think what was his impact on the recording?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Tony knows songs, first of all.
Yeah.
Big time in the song, like the A&R kind of like the picking the song. Because during all those MCA days, not only was he producing all those artists, but he was the A&R. So he was actively looking for songs, finding songs. He's such a song guy, such an ear for songs. And it gave me a lot of confidence because if Tony Brown liked one of my songs, I felt good. And I felt like, okay, this song is actually really good.
And you think he still knows what a good song is?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's just a magic to what he does. And really, I couldn't have done that record without him or without Brandon Hood, because they co-produced. And Brandon brought a lot. I mean, I wrote a lot of those songs with Brandon. We did a lot of the kind of roll up your sleeves and find a sound, right? What I felt like was my thing. And Tony helped a lot with that too. Tony was one of the guys that, because when I first came to town, I go, okay, I'm not going to be the Elvis guy. And I threw everything Elvis out the door.
Yeah. So what were you? Were you leaning into...
Then I just became like a George Strait impersonator.
Yeah, so you swung too far in the other direction or whatever.
And he's and Tony helped me kind of like, he's like, you got to use that stuff. You know, incorporate all those influences. It's part of you, man. And I did. So there's parts on the record you can hear a little bit of Elvis, you can hear a little bit of George, you can hear a lot of my influences just kind of come out, Buck Owens and stuff like that. And Tony really helped me with that. And Brandon really is so great at rolling up his sleeves and getting into a track. You know, he loves editing tracks and loves, you know, really casted that band of players, which I think part of the sound on that, and still guys that I use, Chris McHugh on drums, Tom Bukovac, big, huge part of that. Gordon Mote, piano, Bruce Boughton on steel, Paul Franklin on some of it. I mean, it's the casting players too. It's like a little left field, you know, because I was trying to make a more traditional kind of country record. To George's inside, or to Tony's inside, he's like, I don't want to use the same players I use on George Strait. I want it to sound different, you know, because I don't want to just make the same record. And so it was great because guys like Chris McHugh come in, you know, who's one of my favorite drummers. I've played like Keith Urban stuff, Rascal Flatts, like just iconic kind of drum parts too. And brought a different element to it. Not necessarily a traditional country drummer, you know,
right? But
just brought that, the way he hits, the way like his sensibilities are great, you know, and bring a different element to my stuff rather than just being a totally traditional country music. To me, it adds life and makes it fresh.
Who's coaching these people in the session? Like, I'm assuming maybe it's Tony and maybe Hood, but like, will you go up to Tom Bukovac and be like, hey, can you play this a little differently, or like how much do these songs how quickly do these songs come together with all those guys?
First record, I mean, some of it was because we cut stuff probably all the way back in 2019, 2020. Most of that record was cut, and it was all so new to me still. Luckily, a lot of guys, I mean, there's plenty of ideas going around, right? I mean, Brandon's got ideas, Tony's got a lot of ideas, Tom Bukovac always has ideas. And
does he have too many ideas? Like,
sometimes,
really? Is he all over the place?
Sometimes too many ideas.
Like, because why? He'll be like, what does that mean? He'll be like, oh, we should try this or this or this. And it's like, just pick one.
Like, dude, we're working on a budget here. We only have so much time. You know,
really?
It's like,
so someone has to wheel him in, or anyone.
Sometimes
these people have to
but a lot of
wheeled
times
in,
it's like he comes over like, if you listen to, and what was so cool for me, a lot of these demos I had done of these songs that ended up being on the record, me and Brandon did like full kind of demos, like full, pretty much with a lot of those guys, like kind of testing out players. So it was a nice like audition process for finding players that we eventually wanted to use on the record. And it was so cool seeing the change from some of maybe the younger session guys to using guys like Paul Franklin and Tom Bukovac, who came up with parts. Like for instance, on a demo of Tipping Point. There's a song on the record called Tipping Point. It's kind of a Buck Owens kind of thing. I'm at my tipping point. And we just had, like, for the solo on that, you know, just play all over, whatever. Tom came up with a great part, you know.
Like a Don Rich thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And because he can play anything, but it's so cool to watch guys step back. Paul Franklin did the same thing. A different steel player played on the demo and played a great solo, you know, technically great, all that. I loved it. And when Paul came in, Paul overdubbed on that. And I watched him sit back and come up with a part, you know, and a singable part. And I think that's some of the magic of those session guys, is being able to play commercial music at a high level and learn, you know, have all the abilities to play anything, but also be able to step back and come up with something kind of nursery rhyme-ish.
I feel like a lot of country that I'm hearing right now, it's like a lot of the intros or like the solos or whatever, like we're like losing these memorable parts. Like a lot of what I listen to right now, I feel like the chords will pass through in the intro, and it's like, oh, but where's the part? Like you were just playing the chords, and there's no parts. Really?
Yeah. There is a lot of that. And there's a lot of like just people want to shred. You know, people just want to shred over stuff.
Yeah.
And it's impressive, and it's impressive for a live show for sure. But for a record, man, to make stuff that's memorable. I mean, I'm such a fan of Shania Twain records.
Yeah.
Think of all the great parts on those records. It's
a
song full of nothing but hooks.
Yeah.
And parts, you know? So, yeah, that's it. But it's been a great transition, too, because I did this last EP, Jukebox Songs, with Trent Willman, who I've known for years, been riding with him for a long time. A Texas guy.
What has he done?
What has he done as far as like production-wise?
Yeah.
He does all of Cody Johnson's records.
Oh, yeah,
He's done all the Cody Johnson stuff. And it's been a great change for me because it kind of, I guess maybe, working with like Tony and Brandon is so, they have such a vision, which is great for a new artist, especially. It's like I can lean on them, but I've had to lean on myself for a little more for this, and I'm more confident than I've ever been as far as like I know how to speak the language of the guys in the studio. I know kind of what I want, and I'm so much more confident as a singer, which is another great part of having great session guys is they watch me. Bukovac watches me like a hawk, and he'll pick up on little stuff that I do. Man, do that stuff. That's cool. And that is some of the magic to me of having good session guys. Is they really watch the singer and listen intently. I do a thing where I go around sometimes and I'll listen to everybody's that they're playing back stuff. I'll go and they're in the control room when I go around.
You'll hear their mix.
I'll go hear their mix, man. Tom's is scary because it's like, dude, you have way too much of my vocal in there, and it's like I'm singing like crap today. I don't want you to hear that, but
I almost think that could be almost like, dude, like you're not producing this session. I'm not even calling Tom out because he's the greatest ever, but I can imagine if someone else in the room was like, it's like, do more of that. I'd be like, it's too much pressure. Like I can't take that much feedback from people. Yeah. Like, do you feel that way, or you kind of like it when people are like,
I like it. I mean, yeah, I like it. It just gives me confidence. Or they pick up on something that I may have missed, something that I did. And they may pick up on and go, that's good. Do that. Yeah, do that. We'll make a thing of that. You know?
Yeah.
I like that stuff. And it's you watch the session guys too. They have such a way of like letting go of stuff too. It's like they can play something and it may just not. If it doesn't feel right to me, it doesn't feel right to the producer. That they'll turn on a dime.
They'll know.
They can play something totally different and let go of. They may have thought that part was the best thing they've ever played in their life, but they have to let go of it,
Yeah, right. When's new music coming?
So I'm kind of in the throes of it right now. Me and Trent are collecting songs, and I'm going through all my like kind of back catalog stuff that I've written over the years and finding stuff. We're constantly looking at outside songs, and just kind of going through. I'm like, because we're going to make another record, hopefully to be released sometime next year, and I just want it to be really good. I want to find some great songs, and I know I'm not going to write everything on this record. I did on the first record, and that wasn't my intention. And this EP, 3 of them were outside cuts, songs that I didn't write, and that's been a great thing too. Because I'm at a point now where I feel like I don't think in the first record I could have taken songs and made them my own. I would have been trying to copy somebody else. And now I feel like I know who I am enough to take an outside song, sit down on a guitar, and make it my own.
What do you think is your own, or what is that thing? How do you not sound too much like?
I don't know. There's points you go to become alive. There's points where you probably people think I'm doing a big Elvis impression on stage, and I probably am. And
no, but I don't think so.
Or a Ronnie Dunn impression. I just love like all my favorites. I just try to take like anybody has. Everybody's done it.
I think everyone.
My favorite is Merle Haggard's probably my favorite country artist of all time.
Yeah.
And have you ever watched Merle Haggard doing impressions?
I feel like I have seen that.
It's amazing. He does this like. There's a great clip of him and Marty Robbins together, and he's doing a Marty impression in front of Marty, and it's great. And he does like Buck Owens and Johnny Cash.
Can you do impressions?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love.
Give me a couple of impressions. Can I put you on the spot?
Maybe.
Everyone who does impressions is so like, oh, don't make me do impression. Like it's so hard. Is it that hard to do, or like why is it annoying to be asked to do impressions?
I don't know, because mine aren't very good. I'm not a good impressionist.
Well, that would have been a key detail that you left out.
One of my favorites, and a lot of because I can do like the kind of stuff that kind of gets a little nasally, you know. So you start kind of going like Ronnie Dunn. I love.
Yeah.
And I do a terrible Ronnie Dunn impression. I do a good impression. Here's my impression of
We'll cut it out.
My impression of Ronnie Dunn is Jim Beavers doing an impression of Ronnie Dunn. I'm doing an impression of Jim Beavers doing an impression of Ronnie Dunn.
It's deep. Yeah.
Like she looks so good moving across the dance floor.
Wait, I feel like that was just Ronnie Dunn doing Ronnie Dunn.
Maybe.
I feel like that was good.
If you ask Ronnie, he'd probably hate it.
That was good. Give me another. Can you do Buck Owens?
No, not really Buck. One of my favorites is John Anderson, and this is one of my great favorite bits that I do. I want to hear John Anderson sing Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day.
Okay, can you do it?
I walk a lonely road, the only road that I have ever known.
That was good.
I don't know where it goes. You know, it'd be great. And he could do all those like,
I feel like that's really good. Give me one more. You gotta have one more.
I do
Give me one
pretty
more.
bad Luke Bryan.
Okay.
And it kind of stemmed off when I did American Idol. Luke was a judge.
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, you're cowboy cool, man." And it was terrible again. But like I love doing like the country girl, shake it for me. Girl.
That does sound kind of like young
little
Luke
bit,
Bryan,
but they're all kind of based on the same kind of part of the voice.
Yeah.
You know, kind of similar.
Right.
That's kind of the extent of my impressions.
When you made your Opry debut, did you call Bill Anderson for advice?
Yes, I did.
Like, right? Why Bill? Because why do you call Bill?
Well, so I write for Sony Music Publishing.
Yeah.
And Bill Anderson's been a staple there for a long time. And I've gotten to write with Bill and become friends with him, and it's so cool because I revere Bill so much. I mean, he's one of the last true great songwriters in this town, I think. From that generation of songwriters where everybody wrote everything by themselves. They didn't know what co-writing was. Vince Gill was actually the one who got Bill Anderson into co-writing. He had never really co-written, and they wrote Which Bridge to Cross, Which Bridge to Burn together. And because there were songs, and I asked Bill all the time about like writing with, because there's some, like he's a co-writer on some stuff with When Two Worlds Collide with Roger Miller. And he's like, there was no co-writing with Roger Miller. You know, he's like, you kind of would, we'd bounce stuff off each other and eventually have a song, but it wasn't really co-writing, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like you show up at 10 o'clock with another guy and, write.
Do you feel like when you get in the room with Bill, though, to write, you could write a hit with him? Do you feel that way?
I feel that way, and I want to.
Yeah.
I want Bill Anderson to have it, because Bill's had a hit in like every decade since like the 60s.
Yeah.
He wrote City Lights when he was like 19 or something like that. For
and
Ray
Whiskey
Price.
Lullaby for
Whiskey
Brad.
Lullaby, and he's had all the way through,
Yeah.
So I really want I want Bill Anderson to be on the top of the charts. That's one of my goals.
So you call him before your Opry debut.
Yeah.
Why? Because you want his advice, or like why do you call him?
He's an Opry staple, and I just called him and said, "Hey man, I want some advice." And I'm glad he called me back, and I'm glad I missed it because he left me a great voicemail. A very nice voice, and I have that voicemail, and I have it like forever now. And he's like, I don't really have any good advice, but I'll tell you Minnie Pearl used to tell everybody. It's like, you just go out there and love them, and they'll love you right back, And that was great, man.
Is that good advice?
That's good advice, because if you go, Opry's such a place too. If you go out there with a lot of love, I think the crowd responds to it no matter what it is,
Yeah.
So that was some great advice, and he got to come up. I think this was my 4th or 5th time playing the Opry here pretty recently, and I was trying to figure out what to do, and I finally had Bill Anderson was on the bill that night, and I was like, great. And so I called Bill and I go, "Hey man, you want to do a song that we wrote?" And so we did a song just acoustically. It was a song that we wrote called Willie Waylon and Whiskey, and I got to bring him out, on the last verse, and he sang it, and it was a special moment. It was my first like legitimate Opry moment.
Yeah.
Where
that sounds like a great song. Is that out? That song's out, right?
What's that? Willie Waylon Whiskey? Yeah. No. I haven't recorded it.
I want to hear that.
Yeah, it's great, man. And he brought in the great thing about Bill, a guy that's been doing it forever. A lot of times with those more veteran writers, they've written everything. They've spent years and years and years constantly coming up with ideas. The tap is usually empty on song ideas for those guys, and they rely on younger writers to come in and bring in ideas. Thing with Bill, though, he always comes in with ideas. He's got his notebook. He wakes up every morning and he wants to write a song, and he comes up with ideas. And it's inspiring to see guys like that, because still coming in and being so passionate about it, you know, and it makes you feel good.
Do you and other I feel like there's like this rise of like, I don't know what you would call it, neo-traditionalism country or whatever. Like, do you and Zach Top ever hang out?
Yeah, I was just down in Fort Worth. I went back home. I was off this past weekend, and it worked out perfectly because Zach was playing first time at Billy Bob's.
Really?
My favorite venue in the world. And so I called up Zach. I was like, man, I'm coming to Billy Bob's. Like, you want to do a song? I'm like, yeah, come on.
You guys are friends.
Yeah. And I've been a fan of Zach's for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and met him years ago, just kind of in the circuit of things, and I've just been a fan of his singing and his playing, and I just think he's great. It was just great. It's such a cool time to be a part of this too, because there's so many young artists out there that I'm genuinely a fan of, and it's so cool to be kind of in the mix and be able to call and be friends with them. You know, Jake Worthington, Emily Ann Roberts, and a lot of these guys and girls who are just so good. I think and make timeless music. It's just, there's a lot of great young, kind of more traditional country talent out there, which is great.
Good time to be in country music,
great time.
Right?
And Zach's killing it.
He's killing it, right?
He's absolutely killing it, and it's great to see because, you know, I talk to Jake Worthington about this all the time. Every time I say it, it's like any success that any of us have in like the kind of more traditional space is good for all of us, you know, because it shows the industry that people want that. You know, because I think, you know, maybe 15 years ago, even 10 years ago or so, you probably would have heard, you know, people just aren't into the traditional thing. It's just not working, you know. But I feel like now I don't hear that, you know, because people want it.
Yeah.
You know, 90s country's huge. You know, all the way older country's huge.
What do you think is the thing that's going to take your career to the next step, whatever that is? Is it going to be a massive radio song? Is it going to be like a viral moment? Is it going to be something else? Like,
I think you need all the above nowadays to really make it. You need to have some viral moments. You need to have a big radio song. It definitely helps. I think above all, just for me, it's like for somebody like me, you know, every artist is different. You know, every artist kind of makes songs that can be successful for different reasons, right? And for me, it's like I just look up to the career of George Strait, and throughout his entire career, he's always had great songs, and consistently great songs, and that's kind of where I just want to make a career out of it and do it as long as possible, and I think finding great songs too, you know, and making sure you incorporate the writing community in Nashville around you, which George always did. He's always a Texas guy, but he cut his records in Nashville. Always had a great studio band, great producer, great songs.
Okay, Drake Milligan's on the podcast. Drake, what are the top 5 George Strait songs for you?
All right, I'm gonna kind of go through the Full Hearted Memory is one of my favorites.
Full Hearted Memory. That was nice. That was nice.
Great.
You can do
great
a harmonize. Song. Okay. That's a good one.
I mean, I love some of the 80s stuff. The 80s stuff is kind of different than the 90s stuff. It's still going in the 80s. I love the whole record, Beyond the Blue Neon. It's more of kind of a swing record.
Yeah. What's the big hit on that record?
I think Ace in the Hole might have been on that record.
You've got to have an ace.
I think they might have done another, like, old Bob Wills song.
Okay. That's 2. Number 3.
I mean, Run, you can't.
Baby Run.
Oh, the harmonies on that.
Everyone loves that George Strait song. I feel like everyone always calls that one out as being one of their favorites.
Love that song. I love She Let Herself Go. I think it's a great song. D. Dillon song. Great song. And there's a track, when you're a guitar player.
Yeah.
One of my favorite guitar parts ever.
I gotta
go listen to the verse after this. First verse. I don't know who it is. Probably Brent Mason. And he's just playing, you know, I wonder how she'd take it when she said goodbye. And there's this big fling. She might do some crying. Lose some sleep at night. Fling. But he had no idea when he hit the road. And it's like, to me, every time it hits, I'm like,
I gotta listen to that. I know those moments.
And it's just great big, like, chorusy guitar.
Just, yeah.
And it's like,
isn't that what crazy how session players can do that?
Yeah.
Like
just
you
play one little thing.
Like you could do that too, but it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't
Okay, that's number 4, and then number 5.
Oh, I mean, these are all right now. It changes every day.
No, of course.
Such a big catalog.
I can only ask
so many
for
great
right
songs.
now. Yeah.
I will say right now, George's new record he just put out.
Yeah.
This brand new record, Cowboys and Dreamers. I think is a great record. And there's a song that him and I think Dean Dillon and Jesse Joe Dillon, Dean's daughter, and Bubba wrote called The Book. And I love that song.
Really?
It's so good.
I gotta listen to that.
It's so good.
All right, those are good answers. Yeah. Drake Milligan, he's playing the Basement East on October 25th. That's right. You gotta go.
The Beast.
It's probably gonna sell out. The Beast.
The Beast.
If it's not already sold out by the time you're listening to this, just check online, see if you can get tickets.
And we're planning a fun show too.
Why?
Because we've never played in Nashville. You know, we hardly ever play in Nashville.
When was the last time you played in Nashville?
Other than the Opry, it's been a couple of years probably.
You can bring some guests out?
Maybe.
You gotta bring some guests out. Maybe. Who can we get? Who can we get to come out?
I gotta bring somebody cool out.
You've been on the road with...
It's a Friday night in Nashville, so there's not a lot of people.
Oh, you're screwed.
I know.
Who are you gonna
people
get?
are on the road.
I bet Bill would come out. See if we can get Bill to come out.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Who else could we get to come out?
Maybe Vince. We should call Vince.
I bet Vince would go out. Why
you think
not?
So?
What's he doing? Unless he's out with the Eagles.
He's out with another band right now. I don't think they're ever going to make it though.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's kind of a new thing.
I would get Bill to come out. Wouldn't that be so great?
It would be great
to get Bill Anderson to come out and sing this song, Waylon. What was the song?
Willie Waylon
and Whiskey. Get him to come out. You've been on the road too with Nate Smith, Cody Johnson, big shows. Big shows, right?
Yeah, the Cody thing's been really cool.
Really?
I got to see Cody. I've been a fan of Cody's for a long time. I mean, obviously, being from Texas, Cody's been huge in Texas for a long time. And, I got to see him in some smaller kind of venues around Fort Worth and then work his way up, smaller than Billy Bob's and work his way up to Billy Bob's and then get bigger and bigger. And then to be on the road with him this year and watch him in arenas every night.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And you were playing in the arenas too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had my little slot in front of him. And
oh, dude.
But it was great. And it's a great crowd to get in front of, people that appreciate, I think, what I can bring to the table. And his whole crew. Cody and his crew are awesome. The whole crew is like so professional. Cody's awesome. It's just like, it was so cool to be out there this year with him.
Dude, that's so great. I wish I called one of those shows. I gotta come to the Basement East, though. I'm gonna come to the Beast show.
On.
You gotta get some good guests, man. Who are we gonna get? Let's get someone.
Gene Simmons. We'll get Gene.
Let's get Gene out there. I want, oh my God. Drake Milligan. Okay, the debut album, Dallas Fort Worth, is already out. It's been out for a couple years. Go listen to that. Honky Tonkin' About was a single. I'm just looking on Spotify. Jukebox Songs. That's a great record too. That's an EP. There's only like a handful of songs on that record. Mm-hmm. When did this come out? In February?
February. Yep.
God, it feels like it just came out, doesn't it?
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
What's the single on here?
I Got a Problem. I Got a Problem is a single. Yeah, we're at like 5 to 6 radio markets now. Doing good. It's so cool to still see, like, if it's getting played, like it's San Antonio's playing it, or Dallas Fort Worth's playing it, like going to these places and playing shows, and people are like singing along.
They know the song.
Yeah, so radio works, baby. Radio works.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
So the song is out now. How long has you guys been this song's been out since February, right?
Yeah, it's actually been out. I think it was the first one that came out on the EP.
Yeah.
And it came out maybe last year sometime, maybe November, because we played it on AGT. And it's been.
That's right. I remember when you played on AGT, because you came back to AGT. You did this like massive performance.
Yeah.
Where you played it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we played on there, and it's been great. Like it really did well overseas, or UK. It did great. Got a number 1 over there with it, and Australia was on the radio over there. Canada. Yeah. So, yeah.
I feel like you've got these songs in your catalog. Like you have a catalog of songs where there's like multiple songs. Like it's not just like sounds like something I do. Like you've got these songs that I think are like so signature and are easy to listen to, and they sound distinct.
Thank you.
And they have these hooks in them.
Yeah. There's some great songs. The first record, there's so many songs. Like I feel like it could have been singles. Over Drinking, Under Thinking.
Over Drinking, Under Thinking.
I know. It's like, and we had some like radio play in like Texas, like the Texas kind of markets just picked it up because those pick up whatever they like, And it's like my second biggest song and it is, with virtually no radio play.
Yeah.
It's just people reacting to it. Hating Everything She Tries On, another one like that.
Yeah.
People just reacted to that song.
And you've got one for the money, two for the show.
Yeah.
Like
Kiss
that's
Goodbye
like
All Night.
like that's like a signature like part of that song.
Yeah.
Like
that
your
I stole
songs are
from Blue
just
Suede Shoes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But that record is every song on that just sounds classic country.
Yeah, that's what I went for.
Killer.
Yeah, to me it was like I'm trying to find jukebox songs. That's why we called it. I'm trying to find songs that could fit in on an old jukebox next to some of our favorite country hits.
I feel like you need more music out, though. Can I say that?
I
How do we
agree.
get more music out?
I'm working.
What are we
on
doing?
It.
Like,
I'm working on it.
There's
as soon as I feel like I have the great songs and we're ready, and we already have a lot of great songs, but as soon as I feel like I have that well-rounded thing, we're going in and cutting it.
How many songs do you need? Just I don't know. Just give me something.
As many as possible.
So you're right now. Here's the day in the life of Drake. You're on the road, and then when you're not on the road, you're listening to songs, and you're writing, and you're trying to figure out how do I find more songs.
Yeah.
And then are you always on the road?
Yes.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, we've been constant this year, all over the place, which I love it. I love playing shows. We finally got into a bus, which has changed my life.
Oh my God, do you get the back of the bus?
No. Well, sometimes we've got like a lounge back there. It kind of there's one of the benches back there folds out into a bed.
Yeah,
I'll sleep back there every now and then. It gets kind of hot in the mornings whenever we park back there. But I love the bunk. I love the coziness of a bunk and just get in there.
Do you think the members of the band are jealous that your name's on the marquee and they show up every night and
I don't know, that'd be a question for them, maybe.
And
I don't know.
Play and
they see all the extra stuff that I have to do too,
Yeah. Like this ridiculous interview. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to you for starting at 2 though. So that's
what do you mean starting at 2?
Start at 2:30. It's great.
What do you mean?
Instead of like 9 a.m.
Are most of the interviews at 9 a.m.?
Sometimes.
I tell everyone most of the time people are like, what time can we do? And I can do. I'm open on this day, but we have to do the afternoon because I hate interviewing people in the morning.
Yeah.
But then I'm scheduling a really big interview with Keith Urban if it's going to get done. And I said, I'll only do it in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And they wrote back to me and they said, well, Keith's only going to do it in the morning. And I said, all right, we'll do it in the morning.
Drive a hard bargain.
I was like, okay, we'll do it in the morning.
But I think they see all the extra stuff that artists have. You just have to, we get to where we're doing a show too, and it's like I gotta run and do a news interview in the morning and do all sorts of stuff, the extra kind of curriculars, and they get to hang out.
Yeah. Do you think those things do you go on the local news station? Then do you think that helps sell tickets?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah,
I think it does. It's just to me, it's like there's so many avenues as an artist to get out there, whether it's on TikTok or whether it's whatever it is. I think the more you can, it's just all about still just getting into people's living rooms, and not a creepy way. Not a creepy way.
Or in a creepy way. That's
or in a creepy way.
Or
that works for some people too.
Whatever puts butts in seats. If that's gonna get it done, that's fine.
But it's just you gotta make sure you're out there in every way possible. And I just love doing it. I want to make sure I have a career in it too. So I'm just like I want to do everything as long as I can stay healthy and not run myself out doing it. I'm willing to do it because I want to be doing this forever.
Drake Milligan on the podcast, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
It is Tuesday, and he's probably gonna be on the road this weekend.
Yep, we're headed down to Florida. We didn't think the shows were going to happen. I know Milton came through.
Florida.
But all the venues said we're good to go. We got power, baby, and if y'all want to get down here, we'll come down there. So
we'll rock. We're gonna hop on the bus and we're gonna roll.
Yep.
And he's single.
I'm single.
And he can't picture dating anyone. So don't even think about sliding into his DMs or trying to make a move. This guy's career first, all the way. That's what's on his mind, okay? But maybe if someone special came along.
Yeah, I mean, it would take the right one.
It would take the right one to really... Would she have to be in music? Or he? I don't know. Would she have to be in music? Preferably not.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a line, are you looking for a nurse who can take care of you? Or
that'd be kind of cool.
We have no clue.
Somebody with a career too. You know, that's got her own thing going on.
She'd have to have her own thing going on.
Yeah.
And she would have to be confident in your big star, in you being a big star.
It's a tough thing, dating an artist.
Is it a tough thing? It's a tough thing, right? God, I don't have this problem, but I can't get a date anyway. So it doesn't even affect me. Oh my God. All right, Drake Milligan. Can we harmonize something? What can we? I've done this with people in the past. Sometimes it works out better than other times. Is there a song we can harmonize to?
I don't know.
I'm not a great singer, which is what which is what makes it more fun. Give me a song. I feel like you were already singing something, like a George Strait song, like something. I
love the harmonies. You know, True.
No. Oh God, that would have been a great one.
What about Run? You know Run.
I could do Run, yeah. Well, hold on. Do you know the lyrics? Let me pull up the lyrics.
Well, we can just do the chorus.
I don't even think I know the chorus, but I think if I saw the lyrics, I would be able to know it. Wait. Let me see. Hold on.
Baby.
Wait. The thing is, can you do the harmony? Because I'm a horrible harmony singer.
No, I'm a horrible harmony.
Are you serious? We're screwed.
I have enough time with it. We have hardly enough time.
This isn't going to work.
What about an old Buck? You know Buck?
I can do anything, Buck. What do you want to do?
Oh, the sun's gonna shine in my...
Are we doing a harmony, though?
I don't know.
We can't do the... I can't do the Don Rich part.
Oh.
If we do unison, it's going to be so embarrassing. This is only going to work if we harmonize. What is the harmony part for...
Tiger? Well, we could do Tiger by the Tail, but you can probably...
Tiger by the tail, it's plain to see. I don't know if that's right or not. It won't be much when you get through to me.
See, I got the harmony there.
Yeah, you got the harmony. That was nice.
Yeah.
What was the other one you were singing?
The
sun's gonna shine. The sun's gonna shine in my life once more. All right, we'll cut
Love's
it there.
Gonna
Live here again. Oh, I love those records.
They're so good.
Those
man.
records are so good, right?
Don
Rich is what makes those records unbelievable.
I will spread the gospel of Don Rich till I die, man.
I think he's like the BB King of country music.
Yeah.
Because hear me out. How much influence are those licks that Don Rich played? But they're simple. So if you're like,
and Don singing.
Oh my God, his singing on those records is incredible.
Amazing.
But you know what I think is the most underrated part of all those records? It's Buck Owens' acoustic guitar playing. Just the way he goes chung, 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 chung. Like he just lays it down so heavy.
Yeah, Buck is a great player. And his telly parts are great too. You don't realize how much of those they doubled.
Didn't he teach Don a lot of those licks anyway? Probably. That's what I've heard.
Well, Don was a fiddle player.
He was a fiddle player. That he taught him how to play guitar.
Really kind of started playing guitar in Buck's band when he was like 17.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? So I'm sure he learned a lot. There's so many great... Merle played in Buck's band.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day.
And didn't he steal his wife or something? Or isn't there something like that?
Yeah. But also Merle came up with the Buckaroos.
That I did know too, right?
He goes, you should name your band the Buckaroos. Yeah.
That's so good. I love those records.
Yeah, people should go listen to the Buckaroos stuff by themselves. Don and the Buckaroos.
Yeah.
Some great stuff in there with just Don singing. And there's some great records like that because Don was a great singer. Man.
Oh my God,
great singer.
The record for me though is the Live at Carnegie Hall record. That's what everyone always.
Is that the one where they do the Beatles bit?
Yeah.
They do the Beatles and they apparently
twist and shout.
Yeah, they do twist and shout, and they all have these Beatles wigs on. For apparently they like have, and then there's a part where one of them like throws the wig down and shoots it with a cap gun. Or something like that.
Yeah. There's some weird skits in there which I don't really like.
But it's a great, as far as like me and my band go and listen to a lot of the Buck live stuff.
Yeah.
A great live show. Everything kind of molds into each other. All the songs kind of like the way they transition songs is great.
Yeah.
Pretty much because a lot of those Buck sounds, they kind of had a lot of the songs are kind of the same.
They do medleys where it's like you don't even realize the songs are changing because the songs are like pretty similar.
Which is great though. It's just a great band. Great band.
Oh my God, I love those records. Yeah. Drake Milligan on the podcast. Right. We're wrapping it up. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, buddy.